Here are 50 plus Amish gardening hacks you'll wish you knew sooner. Use of horse-drawn plows. Did you know that horse-drawn plows date back to the 1800s and were essential for early American farmers, including the Amish? These plows loosen compacted soil and improve water absorption while maintaining the soil's natural structure. Attach the plow securely to the harnessed horse and guide it in straight lines for even tilling. This traditional technique prevents overcompaction, helping roots grow deeper and creating nutrient-rich conditions for healthier crops without relying on modern equipment. Heirloom seed saving. The Amish preserve heirloom seeds for future planting, ensuring crops retain natural traits like flavor and hardiness. Collect seeds from mature vegetables or fruits, rinse them thoroughly, and let them dry in a shaded area. Store them in labeled paper envelopes in a cool, dark location. Over time, these seeds adapt to local soil conditions, providing consistent harvests. Crop rotation. Amish farmers use crop rotation to maintain soil fertility and prevent nutrient depletion. By alternating crops, such as planting legumes after corn, they restore essential nutrients like nitrogen to the soil. Divide your garden into sections and rotate crops annually. This practice also disrupts pest and disease cycles, promoting healthier harvests year after year. Maintaining records of previous plantings ensures you're rotating effectively for optimal soil health. Companion planting. Companion planting maximizes growth by pairing mutually beneficial plants. The Amish often plant corn, beans, and squash together, the three sisters method, where corn provides structure, beans fix nitrogen, and squash suppresses weeds. Identify compatible crops, such as marigolds with tomatoes, to repel pests. Space plants strategically to avoid overcrowding while boosting productivity. Companion planting promotes natural pest control and healthier yields without the need for chemicals. Natural fertilizers from animal manure. The Amish use animal manure as an organic, nutrient-rich fertilizer to enrich garden soil. Manure supplies essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium for plant growth. Collect manure from cows, chickens, or horses and allow it to compost for several months to prevent root burn. Spread it evenly over the soil before planting. Mulching with straw. The Amish rely on straw mulch to shield their crops from harsh environmental conditions. Spread a thick layer around plant bases to conserve moisture, suppress weeds, and regulate soil temperature. Over time, the decomposing straw enriches the soil with organic nutrients. It's an efficient, cost-free solution to improve harvests naturally. For best results, add new layers of straw each season. Rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is an essential practice in Amish gardening for sustainable watering. Set up barrels under gutters to collect rain naturally. Unlike treated tap water, rainwater is free of chemicals and ideal for nourishing plants. Water your garden directly from the barrels during dry spells. For added efficiency, install a spigot at the base of the barrel to easily fill watering cans and maintain crop hydration. Hand weeding. The Amish prefer hand weeding over chemical herbicides to maintain clean, healthy gardens. Pulling weeds by hand eliminates competition for nutrients and ensures the crops thrive. Grip each weed at the base and gently extract the root to prevent regrowth. Perform this regularly to keep invasive species under control. Hand weeding also minimizes soil disturbance, keeping beneficial organisms intact for future harvests. Using cover crops. Cover crops are a fundamental part of Amish soil restoration methods. Planting legumes, clover, or rye between growing seasons replenishes nutrients naturally. These crops fix nitrogen in the soil, improve drainage, and suppress weeds. Once matured, plow them into the soil as green manure. This technique not only enriches the soil for the next planting season, but also eliminates the need for synthetic fertilizers, cold frames for early growing. Cold frames help the Amish get a head start on planting by extending the growing season. Built with wood and transparent covers, they act like mini greenhouses that trap warmth and shield plants from frost. Place seedlings inside the frame in early spring to encourage growth. Vent the frame during warm days to prevent overheating. The result is faster germination and stronger plants ready for outdoor planting. Seed starting indoors. Starting seeds indoors gives crops a head start before outdoor planting. The Amish typically use wooden trays filled with nutrient-rich soil to ensure strong germination. Sow seeds at the recommended depth, keeping them warm and moist near a sunny window or under grow lights. As they sprout, monitor moisture levels to prevent drying. Transplanting sturdy seedlings into the garden leads to faster growth and better yields during the growing season. Manual pest control. The Amish favor manual pest control to maintain healthy crops without synthetic chemicals. Regularly inspect plants for signs of pests like aphids or caterpillars. Remove insects by hand or gently spray them off with water. For larger infestations, use traps or nets as barriers. This hands-on approach ensures minimal harm to beneficial insects and keeps plants safe from pests. Consistent monitoring is key to reducing outbreaks naturally, using natural pesticides. Natural pesticides like garlic or neem oil offer an eco-friendly way to combat pests without harming soil microbes. Mix garlic or neem oil with water and spray directly on leaves to repel insects. These solutions work by deterring pests through strong odors and natural antifungal properties. Reapply every few days for maximum effect. For better results, rotate pesticide types to prevent pest resistance and enhance overall plant protection. Intercropping. The Amish maximize their yields through intercropping, growing different crops together for mutual benefits. For example, corn, beans, and squash form the Three Sisters planting method, where beans climb the corn stalks and squash covers the ground to suppress weeds. Space crops carefully to ensure adequate airflow and nutrient sharing. Intercropping reduces soil depletion, discourages pests, and optimizes garden space while boosting biodiversity and crop output. Building trellises. Trellises help climbing plants like beans and cucumbers grow upward, saving ground space and promoting airflow. The Amish often build trellises from wooden stakes or recycled materials for durability. Anchor them securely into the soil and guide plant tendrils upward as they grow. Trellises reduce the risk of fungal diseases by keeping foliage dry and off the ground. They're ideal for small gardens aiming for maximum productivity. Simple soil testing. Healthy crops depend on knowing your soil's nutrient levels. The Amish use simple DIY tests to check pH balance and fertility. Mix equal parts soil and water, then dip a pH strip to assess acidity. Adjust pH using natural amendments like lime or sulfur as needed. This small step improves soil quality and maximizes crop growth effectively. Creating windbreaks. Windbreaks protect crops from wind damage, preserving soil moisture and preventing erosion. The Amish plant dense hedges, trees, or shrubs along garden borders. Choose fast-growing species like spruce or cedar for natural barriers. Windbreaks reduce stress on plants, improving yield and overall garden health. They also create habitats for beneficial wildlife, promoting a thriving, balanced ecosystem in the garden. Using row covers. Row covers shield crops from frost, pests, and heavy rain while maintaining warmth and humidity. Stretch lightweight fabric over crops and anchor it securely to the ground. The covers act as a mini greenhouse, accelerating growth and protecting delicate seedlings. Ventilation is key. Remove or lift them on warm days. Row covers are especially beneficial for extending the growing season naturally. Root cellaring. Root cellars are a low-cost, traditional Amish method for storing crops during winter. Create a cool, dark space underground with proper ventilation. Store hardy vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and beets on wooden shelves or in sand. The cool, moist environment prevents spoilage while preserving nutrients. Rotate produce periodically for freshness and longer storage. It's ideal for year-round food availability. Succession planning. Succession planning ensures a continuous harvest by staggering crop sowing over time. The Amish plant vegetables like lettuce, beans, and carrots every few weeks. As one harvest ends, the next begins. Keeping gardens productive for longer. Mark planting dates and intervals to ensure consistency. This strategy maximizes yield while minimizing empty garden beds and extends the growing season efficiently. Precision gardening. Precision gardening maximizes yields by planting crops with the right spacing and depth for optimal growth. The Amish carefully measure rows, ensuring even spacing between seeds to reduce competition for nutrients. Use a measuring stick or planting guide for consistency. Proper spacing enhances root development and airflow, preventing disease. Regularly monitor plant progress and adjust spacing or thinning when necessary for a healthy, abundant harvest. Creating compost piles. Composting transforms organic waste into rich, fertile soil. The Amish compost kitchen scraps, manure, and garden waste, layering them for proper decomposition. Start with a base of carbon-rich materials like leaves or straw, followed by nitrogen-rich components like food waste. Turn the pile regularly to speed breakdown and maintain airflow. This natural fertilizer enriches soil, reduces landfill waste, and boosts crop productivity sustainably. Planting by the moon or lunar planting calendars. Did you know that the Amish use lunar planting calendars, believing the moon's phases affect crop growth and harvest? The moon's gravitational pull affects soil moisture, making certain phases ideal for planting. During a waxing moon, sow crops that grow above ground, like lettuce and beans. Root crops thrive when planted during the waning phase. Following this rhythm enhances germination and growth naturally, aligning planting cycles with nature's flow. Building raised beds. Raised beds improve soil drainage, extend planting seasons, and reduce weed growth. The Amish build raised beds using wooden frames filled with nutrient-rich soil. Construct the beds at waist height or ground level, depending on space and preference. Raised beds warm faster in spring, allowing earlier planting. They're ideal for gardeners with poor soil conditions, as you can control the quality of the soil within. Using green manure crops. Green manure crops like clover or alfalfa are grown to improve soil fertility naturally. The Amish plant these crops during off-seasons to prevent erosion and fix nitrogen in the soil. Once the crops mature, till them back into the soil, enriching it with organic matter. Green manure enhances moisture retention and aeration, creating a nutrient-dense environment for the next planting season. Drying herbs. Drying herbs preserves their flavors and nutrients for year-round use. The Amish hang bundles of herbs like basil, thyme, and oregano upside down in well-ventilated areas. Tie the stems with twine and let them air dry for 1 to 2 weeks. Once crisp, crumble the leaves and store them in airtight jars. Dried herbs are perfect for seasoning meals or making herbal teas anytime, saving kitchen scraps. Kitchen scraps aren't waste. They're valuable compost ingredients. The Amish save vegetable peels, eggshells, and coffee grounds to enrich their compost piles. Collect scraps in a container and regularly mix them into the compost bin for proper decomposition. These organic materials break down into nutrient-rich humus, which enhances soil fertility naturally. The practice minimizes food waste while promoting healthy, productive garden soil. Creating natural insect repellents. The Amish use natural repellents to ward off pests without chemicals. Make a simple spray by steeping garlic, chili peppers, or neem leaves in water. Strain the mixture and spray it on plants to deter insects. The strong odors and natural insecticidal properties repel pests while protecting beneficial pollinators. Reapply weekly for ongoing protection and to ensure that crops stay pest-free naturally. Building birdhouses. Birdhouses attract birds that naturally control pests in gardens. The Amish build wooden birdhouses using scrap wood and mount them on posts or trees. Position them near vegetable gardens to encourage insect-eating birds like bluebirds and wrens. The birds help keep pests like caterpillars and beetles under control. Regularly clean the birdhouses to prevent disease and maintain a healthy bird population in the garden. Using fish emulsion. Fish emulsion, made from fish waste, is a powerful organic fertilizer rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. The Amish use it to promote plant growth and boost vegetable production. Dilute the emulsion with water, usually a 1:5 ratio, and apply it to soil or as a foliar spray. Its nutrients are quickly absorbed, resulting in greener leaves and healthier roots. Apply every few weeks for optimal results. Planting wildflowers. Wildflowers are a natural, low-maintenance solution the Amish use to boost pollination and prevent soil erosion. Scatter seeds in prepared soil, ensuring they are evenly distributed, and water gently to help them establish. Once grown, wildflowers attract bees and butterflies, enhancing crop yields and ecosystem health. Let the flowers reseed naturally by trimming after blooming, creating self-sustaining beauty season after season. Constructing stone pathways. Stone pathways are a durable Amish solution to prevent soil compaction and guide foot traffic through gardens. Lay a base of gravel, then place flat stones evenly along the pathway. This design not only protects plant beds, but also helps with drainage and weed control. Sweep debris regularly to maintain an efficient, clean walkway while preserving soil integrity. Brewing manure tea. Manure tea is a nutrient-packed fertilizer the Amish use to supercharge plant growth. Steep cow or chicken manure in water for several days, creating a rich liquid that's easy for plants to absorb. Strain the tea and apply it at the base of plants. The nutrients promote strong roots and healthy leaves. Reapply every few weeks for continuous growth. Creating shade structures. Amish farmers build shade structures to protect crops from intense sun and extend the growing season. Using wooden frames covered with burlap or vines, they provide relief for sun-sensitive plants like lettuce or spinach. Place the structure over vulnerable crops and adjust coverage as needed. This setup reduces heat stress, encourages steady growth, and prevents crops from wilting in peak summer heat. Building gravity-fed irrigation. Gravity-fed irrigation is a water-conserving technique the Amish rely on for their gardens. Elevate a barrel or tank, connect it to a hose, and let gravity direct the water to crops. The slow, steady flow prevents water waste and keeps roots hydrated. Adjust the barrel's height and position to ensure even distribution. It's ideal for gardeners aiming to minimize water usage while maintaining healthy plants, using crushed eggshells. Did you know that crushed eggshells naturally enrich soil and deter garden pests, leaving no waste behind? The Amish know this very well. They're packed with calcium, which strengthens plant cell walls and prevents blossom and rot in tomatoes and peppers. Rinse and dry eggshells, then crush them into small pieces and sprinkle around plants. The jagged edges also repel slugs and snails, offering double protection. For extra calcium, mix crushed eggshells into compost. Planting perennials. The Amish favor perennials for long-term garden productivity with minimal replanting. Choose hardy plants like asparagus, rhubarb, or herbs which return year after year. Dig deep holes, enrich the soil with compost, and plant them in well-draining soil. Their deep root systems improve soil structure and prevent erosion. Rotate other crops nearby, but let perennials establish their place as long-term garden fixtures. Creating living fences. Living fences are an Amish favorite for defining garden spaces while providing functional windbreaks. Plant fast-growing species like hawthorn, willow, or hazel along the perimeter. Prune them regularly to maintain shape and density. The thick greenery helps shield pollination from harsh winds, conserves moisture, and prevents soil erosion. Over time, they create wildlife habitats and add natural beauty to the garden. Applying wood ash. Wood ash from stoves and fire pits is a nutrient-rich fertilizer the Amish often use to raise soil pH and add potassium. Spread it sparingly around acid-loving crops like tomatoes and root vegetables, but avoid plants that thrive in acidic conditions. Mix it into the topsoil or compost pile to distribute nutrients evenly. Avoid overuse to prevent harmful alkalinity. Building bee boxes. The Amish build bee boxes to attract pollinators essential for crop production. Use untreated wood to construct small boxes with narrow openings that mimic natural bee habitats. Place them in sunny spots close to flowering plants. Bees help pollinate vegetables, fruits, and herbs, boosting yields. Regularly clean and inspect the boxes to maintain healthy bee populations, ensuring they stay effective season after season. Making leaf mold. Leaf mold, often used by the Amish, enhances soil structure and moisture retention. Rake fallen leaves into a pile, then dampen them and let them decompose over several months. The slow breakdown creates a rich, crumbly, organic matter. Spread it around plant bases to improve soil aeration and water absorption. It's an easy, natural way to recycle garden waste while improving soil fertility. Applying Epsom salt. Epsom salt provides magnesium and sulfur, crucial for plant growth. The Amish sprinkle it around plants like peppers, tomatoes, and roses to promote greener leaves and better flowering. Dissolve 1 tablespoon in a gallon of water and apply it to the soil or as a foliar spray. Regular use can prevent leaf yellowing caused by magnesium deficiency, supporting stronger, healthier plants. Creating natural mulch. Mulching protects plants by conserving moisture and suppressing weeds. The Amish use natural materials like straw, wood chips, and dried leaves for this purpose. Apply a thick layer around crops, but avoid touching the stems to prevent rot. As the mulch decomposes, it adds organic nutrients to the soil. Refresh the mulch periodically to maintain coverage and soil health. Building A-frame shelters. A-frame shelters protect tall or climbing plants from wind and heavy rain. The Amish build these using sturdy wooden beams and cover them with fabric or netting. Position the shelter to block strong winds while still allowing sunlight. This structure reduces plant damage and supports vertical growth for crops like beans and cucumbers. Check the frame regularly for stability and make adjustments when needed. Using vinegar solutions. Vinegar acts as a natural weed killer and pH adjuster, often used by the Amish to avoid harsh chemicals. For weed control, spray undiluted vinegar directly on unwanted plants, taking care not to affect nearby crops. To lower soil pH for acid-loving plants, mix 1 cup of vinegar into a gallon of water. Use cautiously, as excess application can affect beneficial microbes. Planting ground covers. Ground covers prevent soil erosion and naturally suppress weeds. The Amish plant low-growing crops like clover, creeping thyme, or vetch between garden rows. These plants create a protective mat over the soil, locking in moisture and improving soil texture. Ground covers also enrich the soil as they decompose. For best results, trim them regularly to encourage growth and prevent them from overpowering nearby crops. Constructing simple greenhouses. Greenhouses extend the growing season by trapping warmth and creating a controlled environment. The Amish construct simple greenhouses using wooden frames and clear plastic or glass coverings. Position them in sunny areas for maximum light exposure. Inside, maintain proper ventilation to prevent overheating. Greenhouses are ideal for growing cold-sensitive plants and starting seedlings early. Regular maintenance ensures continuous crop protection and extended harvests. Trapping moles. The Amish use simple traps to control moles without damaging their soil-rich gardens. Locate active mole tunnels by flattening them and checking for reopening. Place mole traps directly in the tunnels, ensuring they fit securely. Trapping prevents moles from uprooting plants and creating unsightly mounds. Alternatively, using castor oil-based repellents is another Amish-approved technique to naturally drive moles away from gardens, encouraging beneficial insects. Beneficial insects help Amish gardens flourish by naturally controlling pests. Plant nectar-rich flowers like marigolds, yarrow, or dill to attract insects such as ladybugs and lacewings. These insects feed on aphids and other harmful pests. Maintain a pesticide-free zone to protect them. Build small insect shelters using hollow sticks or logs. By promoting biodiversity, beneficial insects keep gardens thriving with minimal intervention. Hand pollination of crops. The Amish practice hand pollination when natural pollinators are scarce. Using a small brush, gently transfer pollen from the male flower to the female flower's stigma. Focus on crops like squash, pumpkins, or cucumbers that rely on manual assistance in low pollinator seasons. Hand pollination increases fruit set and maximizes yields. Perform this task early in the morning when flowers are open for best results. Building root cellars. Root cellars provide cool, consistent storage for preserving harvests through winter. The Amish build them underground or partially buried to maintain steady temperatures. Use wooden shelves or sand-filled bins to store root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and turnips. Ensure proper ventilation to prevent mold and spoilage. Root cellars help reduce food waste, keeping crops fresh without electricity or refrigeration. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.